Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a great day. I'm back with another art journal page, and on this one I didn't really do anything with the background except dry brush some leftover wet paint I had on here on a fresh page. So this is just leftover colors from my plate, and I actually kind of like how it looks. So I had a little bit of an idea, and I'm going to basically add a bunch of colors and just make this very busy and do some negative painting and see what we get. So I'm just going to start grabbing some colors kind of all willy-nilly, and I'm going to do just a little, blot of each one, and we'll just see where it goes. So I'm going to start with this bluegrass green. It's almost like a viridian, and I'm just going to keep on doing this dry brushing on the page just like this. And I want to get eventually to a layer where I just have lots of color coming through, and you can see a lot of different colors and layers. And so I'm just sort of randomly putting it on here, and I'm using up the little blobs that I put down, and I'm very much dry brushing. So I don't want blobby paint everywhere because I want to make sure that they don't mix too much on the page. I like that texture. So I'm going to kind of alternate between some of these colors. I think I want to add a little bit more yellow. So I'm going to put just a little blob of this yellow on here, and then go back in with my brush again, just like this. And I might add some more shapes, but right now I'm just kind of doing the sort of brushy strokes, and I'm going to get it very busy. I might even bring in another brush size into this, but I want to get it busy. And maybe we'll do a stencil or something, we'll see. I think I could do with a pink. So I'm going to grab my pink color that I've got and a little blob of that. I'm going to use the side of my brush and just see how that looks, and just do some of these lines, just get messy. And I'm not paying attention really to where I'm going. I'm just finding spots on the page that could use a little bit of color, and I'm spreading it around. Next, I'm going to go in with a blue. I've got this Victorian blue. I'm not even going to rinse my brush this time. I'll see how it goes, but I'm going to just go in with this color too. And we'll get all the colors of the rainbow on here. And I'm not sure what shapes or elements I want to put on this yet, so I'm just going to scatter it around everywhere. But I really like how this looks. It kind of reminds me of like an 80s background or something. It's pretty cool. I think I want to do a couple more layers. What colors do I want to use? I want to kind of keep it bright because where they are mixing together just a little bit, it's kind of adding a little bit of that neutral tone. But I think I might brighten it up just a little bit, maybe with this turquoise. So I'll add a little bit of that to my plate, and maybe I'll grab a smaller brush. I've got my little filbert here. Let's see how that works. So I just moistened it a little bit and blotted it pretty well on my napkin I've got here, or paper towel really. And I'm just going to come over here. Maybe I'll do some round shapes. Why not? I like that. That looks pretty good. Don't forget my edges. Okay, I've let my paper pretty much dry. I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm going to draw in some leaves because those are always my favorite. So I'm going to have my stem kind of coming up from the bottom here. And I'm just doing a light sketch right now because I want to find out where I actually want things to go. So I'm going to have one leaf coming over to this side, and then I'm going to have this get a little bit smaller, maybe have a leaf coming out over here, and maybe a second one right behind it. And then I'm going to let this stem come together some more, just like this. And then I'm going to have a big one right here. Just like that. So I'm going to grab this navy blue color. It's a nice dark color, and I think it'll go really well with the rest of the colors I've got on my paper. So I'm going to grab my brush and start negative painting around those leaves. So I'm going to cover up this background. So I'm going to go over where I have my pencil, and then we'll start getting our motif coming through on the paper. Just like this. And I love this navy blue color. It's really gorgeous. And it's going to provide just the right amount of contrast for us. So this has leaves coming together, and there's a little bit of stem, so I'm just going to outline that and keep going. If you need to cut in, sometimes it helps going with the side of your brush, or I like using an angle brush, and depending on how big whatever you're going to put down is, you might want to size down so you can get in sort of those nooks and crannies. And I'm going to have some brush strokes coming through on here, and that is fine with me. So I'm going to start working on this other side, coming down from the top, and I'm not being sparing with the paint. So here I've got one flower here, or I'm sorry, one leaf there. I'm going to cut in that piece and cut in that, and then smooth it all out. Just like that. And then I've got another one here. Now for me, it helps to kind of pull away from myself, but whatever feels more comfortable to you, you can rotate your page if you want to, anything. And then I'm just kind of going over it again, making sure that I am not leaving any big blobs of paint behind. And then just finishing this up. Now I've got one other little gap to fill, but I'm just going to do that one last. All right, I'm going to use the side of my brush to cut in that side of the stem, and just work slowly to get this last little angle the way I want it. Just like that. Now I've got a little piece right here. So I'm going to make sure to get that. And I'm just going slowly. I could grab a smaller brush, but I think I can get what I want with the bigger one. So I'm just going to stick with it. And there is my little leaf on a stem. And I love that contrast. That's really beautiful to me. All right. Now what I'm going to do is grab my round brush and a little bit of white. I'm just going to put a little dot on here. I'm going to add just enough water to make it kind of thin. And I'm going to just sort of put my hand here and add some white splashes to the area around my leaves. And that'll add just some extra visual interest, contrast, and I might get a few little dots inside my leaves, and that's okay, just as long as it's mostly covered, because I want it to be around the outside. All right, now I'm going to take my brush and add a few bigger ones. And I'm going to get close to the leaves also. That way we have a little bit of contrast in the size of our splashes. And I'm trying my best to just sort of deposit it where it's not leaving a brush stroke, where it looks pretty solid and pretty round. So I'm just going slowly there. I'll put one up here. I think that looks really nice so far. Okay, I am mostly dry, and I've got my woodless charcoal pencil and a very damp filbert. And so I'm going to add a little bit of shading around the edges of these leaves. And I'm just going to be careful not to put my hand on the damp part of the paper. So I'm just going to lightly brush some of this charcoal around the edges of these leaves to give them a little bit of definition. Not too much. I'm just going to go lightly around the outside because I really want that bright color to continue coming through. And I'm going to have a damp brush grabbing this charcoal. And just put it around here and bring it down the sides. And I'm just sort of going with my brush onto the pencil so I can get a good amount. If I need to blot, I can, and just kind of go over the edge here and get that shading in place. And I like having this extra bit of contrast here. And it just helps kind of outline these leaves a little bit too. Okay, so it's a little bit darker than I want here. So I'm just gonna scrub this a little and do some blotting and just kind of get it off of the body of the leaf. And since I'm working over dry paint and charcoal is not, permanent when it dries, you can still continue to work on it. There. I like that a lot. Okay, I grabbed my sentiments again, and I really like this one that says, leave a little sparkle wherever you go. And if we have these stars out here, I think that's the perfect sentiment to add. But what I'm going to do is grab my scissors, and instead of keeping it one big line, I'm going to cut this and make it two lines. So I have leave a little sparkle wherever you go, And I think I'm going to make this home right there. Yes, I like that. All right, let's get this tape off and see the finished painting. I love doing negative painting, and I don't do it enough. I like it both with watercolor and acrylic, and it just is kind of nice to do it because you can have so much texture in brush strokes, and there's not really any easy way you could do something like this and still have it, you know, not have kind of messy edges. So sometimes negative painting is just what you need to do to get the effect that you want. So if you don't usually do it, I'm trying to do it more. Maybe you should too. You can get some really beautiful effects, and I'm going to hold this up so you can get the close-up. And it's just very simple and pretty. So I hope you enjoyed doing this with me today. Grab your supplies and try it yourself, or you can make different shapes or whatever you want. And I gotta say, I'm really starting to enjoy using those sentiments. So I'm glad that I got them from Temu, and they're just little simple stickers, easy to put down. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, keep creating.